Hi everyone, Linda from Let's Talk Prepping. And as you know, the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos just ended recently, the 2024 meeting, and I thought I'd go and see what they have planned for us. But as I did that, I came across this website, and I thought I would talk to you about what they planned in 2021 and how most of it has come true. And then we can look at 2024. So let's go over here and see. So I'm at thevigilanttcitizen.com, thevigilanttcitizen.com, the 10 creepiest and most dystopian things pushed by the World Economic Forum. And this is June 2022. And he talks about the global elite, refers to a small group of wealthy and powerful individuals who operate beyond national borders. They're non-elected individuals. They gather in semi-secrecy. And what I tried to do was find a list of everybody who was attending the 2024 Davos meeting, and I couldn't find that. I did find this one from 2021, and you can see some of the companies here, Nike, BlackRock, Dell, and it doesn't give you very many. I went to the list of attendings here at the meetings, and they've deleted that from their website. So we have that. And so one thing they talked about in 2021 was penetrating governments, how they tried to get people into the governments who believed in the World Economic Forum and their agenda. And by golly, they did it. They've got a lot of people in there. So he says, we're very proud. We penetrated the global cabinets of countries with our WEF young global leaders like Trudeau in Canada, Putin, supposedly, Trudeau again here, the president of Argentina, Macron of France. Half of Canada's cabinet consists of representatives sold to the WEF agenda. So that was one thing, and it's come true. And I'm sure the U.S. has people who were part of the WEF. I know that some congressmen and senators attended the Davos meeting, Republican ones also. And this was interesting, how they're controlling minds using sound waves. And in 2018, one of the topics of discussion was mind control using sound waves. And he has an article here, you could go see it. It says, I can see a day coming where scientists will be able to control what a person sees in their mind's eye by sending the right waves to the right place in the brain. My guess is the most objections will be similar to those we hear today about subliminal messages and advertising, only much more vehement. It's going to be crazy if they could do that, because suppose this technology really exists and they can do it. And they can do it without you knowing. All of a sudden you're in a public place watching a play, a movie, or a grocery store, anything, and they just beam these sound waves down on you. So the conclusion of the article was that nobody can stop scientists from developing this technology. To prevent misuse, it should be regulated by, are you ready? The WEF. They're the ones who want it, and they want to regulate it too. Pills that contain microchips. We already have that, so that has come true. It sounds like a far-fetched conspiracy theory, cleverly worded for sensationalism. It's not. Here's the video from the WEF's 2018 meeting where Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer, talks about pills that contain microchips. And we know they do have them now. And what it basically is, when you swallow it, then it will send a signal that you took the tablet, so that the insurance company will know you took it, and of course the drug company will know you took it. And we know now, too, that the drug companies are trying to put the vaccine into food. I think they've succeeded with lettuce, and they're also We don't know how, if they vaccinate pigs with the mRNA vaccine, which they're doing, how that affects us if we should eat it. The other thing they praised in 2018 was massive lockdowns, and they really believe in that, and they'd love to lock us down again. And they did put out a video on what the future would look like, and then everybody was quite upset about it, so they took it down. I tried to find it, and I couldn't. One thing that was in it is you could be identified by your heartbeat. NASA has invented a system that can ID you from your heartbeat using a laser. And I did go look that up. And I'm over here at MIT Technology Review. This is the technologyreview.com, 2019. The Pentagon has a laser that can identify people from a distance by their heartbeat. And it's a unique cardiac signature from 200 meters away, even through clothes. And everyone's heart is different. Like the iris or fingerprint, our unique cardiac signature can be used as a way to tell us apart. Certainly it can be done from a distance. Other long-range biometric techniques include gait analysis, which identifies somebody by the way he or she walks. This method was supposedly used to identify an ISIS terrorist before a drone strike, but gaits, like faces, are not distinctive. An individual's cardiac signature is unique, though, and unlike faces or gaits, it remains constant and can't be altered or disguised. A new device developed for the Pentagon after the U.S. Special Forces requested it can identify people without seeing their face. Instead, it detects a unique cardiac signature with an infrared laser. While it works at 200 meters, 219 yards, longer distances could be possible with a better laser. I don't want to say you could do it from outer space, but longer ranges should be possible. This works through a typical clothing like a shirt and a jacket, though not thicker clothing such as a winter coat, but eventually they'll be able to go through that. It says face recognition can be confused by beards, sunglasses, or headscarves. Keep that in mind if you think they're going to try to recognize you. Maybe you could put more sunglasses, headscarves, and other things on. Cardiac signatures are already used for security identification. The Canadian company NIME has developed a wrist-worn pulse sensor as an alternative to fingerprint identification. So it's 95% accuracy under good conditions, and that might further be improved. Biometric data is routinely collected by the U.S. Armed Forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, so cardiac data could be added to the library. In the long run, it could find many more uses. So there we have it. They can identify you now by your heart. So going back here to what they did in 2021, pushing for the Great Reset, and we know they've been pushing for that for quite a while now. Recalibrating freedom of speech. Well, we know they don't want you to be able to say what you want on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. A recalibration of freedom of speech. You notice how they changed the words? Tracking your clothes, and notice the video is no longer available. WEF announced the coming of clothing laced with digital passports that can be traced at all times. Backed by Microsoft, these garments will apparently flood the market by 2025. They really want RFID chips and QR codes everywhere. These chips will allow fashion brands to resell their clothing. So it says the video makes sure not to mention that this technology will be a great way of tracking those who ditch their smartphones. But ditching your smartphone might become impossible. But I know they now have clothing that has RFID chips and other things in it. So you might want to start looking out for that to make sure you don't run into it. And it says smartphones will be part of your body by 2030. And that's really happening. Elon Musk just got I think he calls it the Neuralink, something like that. Someone just put a chip in their brain. And again, it was for medical use, but there are going to be people who will just say, oh, I don't want to carry a smartphone anymore. I'd love to have a chip in my brain so that I can see what's going on and answer my phone and text and all that. These are the crazy people in the world. And there are some videos here that do work if you come to this site. And you'll own nothing to be happy. We know they've been trying to do that along with the 15-minute cities. Here's a person who says that she owns nothing and she's very happy. And they created a video of this person. An article on the WEF's website explains, I don't own anything, I don't own a car, I don't own a house, I don't own any appliances or any clothes, writes Danish MP Ida Auken. Shopping is a distant memory in a city of 2030 whose inhabitants have cracked clean energy and borrow what they need on demand. It sounds utopian until she mentions that every move is tracked, and outside the city lives swaths of discontents, the ultimate vision of a society split in two. Only services that are rented and delivered using drones. So this would make all humans completely dependent on WEF-controlled corporations. No autonomy, no freedom, no privacy. That isn't quite happening yet, but they're pushing towards it. And then honorable mention here of these 10 things is the individual carbon footprint tracker. Alibaba Group president boasts at the Economic World Forum about the development of an individual carbon footprint tracker to monitor what you buy, what you eat, and where and how you travel. So we know that that's coming true. They're doing everything they can to monitor you in every way they can. And they're getting closer and closer to doing it. And the author of this article says we should boycott every company that is part of the WEF. But as I said, I tried to find the attendees at the 2024 meeting and couldn't find them. So it'd be hard to boycott them. Now, what about 2024? Here's the 6 most deranged moments of the WEF's 2024 Davos meeting. And again, The Vigilant Citizen, thevigilantcitizen.com. And he talks about the World Economic Forum is a parasitic and illegitimate organization that is run by non-elected individuals who are attempting to reshape the world in the worst way possible. It's rather difficult to overstate the nefarious aims of this organization, which prides itself on penetrating governments, and we saw they did do that, like some kind of a cancer, while promoting insane slogans such as, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And you can go and look at the various articles that they have connected here. So as you go down here, what they talk about is Disease X and the Pandemic Treaty, scaring people into accepting the WHO's Pandemic Treaty. At Davos 2024, the WEF hosted a discussion about Disease X, a hypothetical illness that could lead to another global pandemic. And they had people there who was the World Health Organization, Philips Healthcare, AstraZeneca, people who could profit greatly from the new pandemic. So the WEF knew what it was doing when it came up with Disease X. The panelists themselves admitted that it was catchy, and they hoped it would gather social media attention. Well, it did. It annoyed and terrified people who are now convinced that the WEF is already planning another pandemic. Just in time for the election, a new contagion to allow them to implement a new WHO treaty, lock down again, restrict free speech, and destroy more freedoms. Although Disease X is said to be unknown, the WHO weirdly stated that it could be 20 times deadlier than COVID. The goal of the panel was simple: to normalize the idea that Democratically elected governments should not have a say when a pandemic strikes. Instead, global entities of unelected globalists such as the WHO and private pharmaceutical companies should call all the shots and bypass governments. We know that they're pushing this now. And then the other thing they talked about at the 2024 meeting was a new world order. And usually it's thought of as a conspiracy, but the global elites casually discussed a literal new world order for all to see. In response to a moderator's question asking if we're entering a new world order, Sullivan stated, "The post-Cold War era has come to a close. We're at the start of something new. We have the capacity to shape what looks like, and at the heart of it will be many of the core principles and core institutions of the existing order, adapted for the challenges that we face today." To the elite, a new world order would be without nations or democratic elections. If you think I'm exaggerating, here's a video of Klaus Schwab fantasizing about brain implants that render elections useless. You might want to look that up. Digital control. This is a terrible one. Digital control. Fixing healthcare digitally. So this person talks about it and said that the biometric digital ID should be necessary to obtain financial services, for school enrollments, to know who got a vaccine or not, and for government subsidies. It doesn't take Nostradamus to realize that such a technology could easily turn society into dystopia. With this system in place, an unvaccinated person could easily be debanked and denied government subsidies. We don't have the digital ID yet, but you know they would love that. Censoring the critics, you know they're trying to censor everything, social media and everything. And inventing words. The new word is ecocide. Ecocide. And it's to be considered a serious crime. And what is it? Fishing and farming. You know they're after your food. Yes, you heard correctly. JoJo compared farming and fishing to genocide, and she wants to see people punished on a criminal level. Her extreme views represent the WEF's long-term goals. If you've been following the news in the past year, you've noticed that the elite have been waging an all-out war on farmers, especially in Europe. None of this is by accident. The WEF is using the environment to vilify fishing and farming and agriculture. This is followed by massive land grabs. by megacorporations and globalist stooges such as Bill Gates. The ultimate goal, of course, is to have humans feed off bugs and highly processed, barely digestible food products. They will be eating the steaks, not us. So, will all of this come true? Well, you know they're doing their very best to get rid of farming, and they're burning down places or encouraging it. I can't say they're doing it. All of this could come true. Digital control, I really worry about that. The laser we talked about a little bit earlier that could measure your heart rate. You know, you can run, but you can't hide. That's what they say. Disease X, definitely coming, some kind of a pandemic. So we've got all of these things happening. What can you do? That's the key. What can you do to protect yourself? Well, for them trying to get rid of farming, best thing to do is to have your own garden, to have garden seeds, and to get food, to have chickens, maybe rabbits, something like that. You need to be prepared. Now, if they come and try to get rid of home gardening, that's going to be a problem too. But at least for now, I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to try to get rid of the other ones, the big farms and things like that. The Disease X and the Pandemic Treaty, all I can tell you is they're probably going to have a vaccine before the disease even comes out, and they'll push the vaccine on you. So you need to go and look up herbal methods and alternative methods. Get yourself a nebulizer do everything you can to protect yourself from this, what might be coming, and not have to take the vaccine if you don't want to, because you know it's not going to be good for you. So look up your alternative herbal methods, homeopathy, and then start preparing now. Get your herbs now. Get your nebulizer now. Do everything you can now so that if this does happen, you will be ready. All I can say is they want control of us, and it looks like they're getting it. So do the best you can. Let me know in the comments what you think, and thanks so much for watching.